All right, so we've got
Welcome,
Erik
Erik
Davis
Davis.
with us.
Thank you.
Welcome, Erik.
From the Rust Belt.
Yes.
Indeed. Indeed. So you gave a talk today, and I found it interesting as a hiring manager. You talked about how to find testers in the Rust Belt.
Yes.
So obviously about hiring, but what are the challenges in, well, actually for those that are watching, what is the Rust Belt, in case you're not in the United States?
Okay, so the Rust Belt is a large section of the Midwest into the East Coast that in years past spent much of their effort building steel that now doesn't build so much steel. So there's a sort of a dearth of work for a lot of people, and there isn't a lot of technology work in many of the areas. So
Okay. And what kind of challenges did you run into?
And you are based in
Oh,
Cleveland,
Cleveland?
near
Cleveland,
Cleveland,
Ohio.
Westlake,
Ohio.
Ohio, actually, but near Cleveland.
just west of Cleveland,
Big shout out.
as opposed to Progressive, which is on just east of Cleveland.
East, which I yes,
Which you got wrong in your talk. All right.
I did. The wrong
Sorry.
side.
So what are the challenges in your area as far as hiring testers?
So some of the issues we run into are the schools in the area, universities and colleges don't create any testers or even people who have a concept that testing is a career. Also, because there are a number of, for Cleveland scale, large organizations that hire testers, developers in the region, we've basically sucked the region dry of any candidates. So the biggest thing we found is we have to make them, which makes it much more difficult because we have to go find people that might have the right, or that have the right mindset, that don't necessarily know that they want to be testers or even that being a tester is a thing. And we have to find them and convince them that they want to try it and then educate them on how to be testers.
So what's your retention rate like on people who approach you, what are you offering at a career fair, and you say, oh, we're software testers, and they say, I have no idea what that is, and you tell them, and they go, okay, and then they come in for an interview, and you end up hiring them. Do you have a lower retention rate with those people than people who actually know what a software tester is?
I don't have exact numbers on it, but the vast majority of the people that we hire came in with no concept of what testing was. So we hire very few experienced testers just because there aren't many in the region. So we make most of our testers into testers after they start.
So do you have a normal type turnover rate?
Our turnover rate last year, I believe, was around 9%, 8%, 9%.
Okay.
So how do you make a tester?
Well, we train.
Maybe with Legos, you stack them up.
Yes, you can build them out of Legos.
A little robot.
They don't work very well. Through training. So for a long time, we didn't have much of a training program internally. We would sit new testers sort of with their team, and the team was responsible for trying to educate people. In the past year or so, we've built an internal training group. Right now it's 2 people, but technically that's a group that's responsible for training.
That counts.
It was 1.
Yeah, it's more than one.
I thought you needed 3 for a group. Or no, that's an unlawful gathering. Sorry.
Yeah. 2. They're responsible for putting together a training program for our new testers. That's their initial, I guess, work is new hire work, but they're also trying to build some material for people further down the road, so people who've been there for some number of years that haven't had any real training in anything. One of the benefits we had is we were able to get Paul in, not to Highland, but into like a block down the street to run RST.
Way down the street. It was like 200 yards down the street.
Yeah.
Not associated with Highland.
But it was very close. And we were able to get the person who's responsible for our training program to go through RST and find the parts of the material that they're allowed to, that she can reuse for like smaller scale training programs for our new hires.
RST is rapid software
testing.
In case you don't know.
In case
Yes.
anybody watching out of the like 5 or 6 people who are watching don't know.
I think my mother's watching. She appreciates your
And
definition.
Andy, we know Andy's
Yeah,
watching.
and Andy's
Bad Bud in
and
England.
yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple. That's good. So what do you look for when you said you've got very diverse backgrounds.
Yes.
None of which appear to be software testing. So what sorts of traits do you look for in somebody?
Actually, wait, while you're thinking of answer that, I just want to actually point out that of all the presentations I saw today, Erik's was by far the slickest. He used Prezi. The way he presented it had a good amount of humor, moved lively, huge energy, and awesome information. I honestly was blown away by your presentation.
Thank you.
And I thought I'd say that so it's going to be recorded. So that way
Yay.
I can show proof that I say nice things about some people.
Some of that may have
It is
been
a
not
challenge
really eating
at
lunch and drinking a rock star before I started, so it's a little shaky.
You were
Little
trying
jittery,
before you
yeah.
started.
Yeah, but I just walked around a lot. I paced.
Yeah,
Got some
that's
exercise
true.
in.
You move a lot.
I can't standing behind
Like
the
a
podium
lightning
is-
bolt.
That's not cool.
Yeah,
I'm-
but anyway, it was an
I'm-
awesome presentation. I was very impressed with it.
Thank you. So there isn't an easy answer to the question, which I think is what makes hiring testers where I'm hiring testers difficult, because there isn't one thing that we look for. If there was, it'd be great. I could just tell my recruiter, keyword match for this, and let me know the ones you find. But we can't
Keyword
do
match,
that.
Good tester.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're like,
Able to think.
Yeah.
yes. If there was a phrase that showed up, or like a degree that meant something, or anything like that, we could just match for that and be easy. There really isn't anything like that, so we have to look at large quantities of applications that come in and try to glean from them. I think this person could be good at testing, pretty much based on our individual experiences with working with people who maybe went through something similar, or things we see on the resume. So there isn't any magic, look for this and you'll find lots of testers that I can find. So,
Because I've used that before, and things I'll look for. I interviewed someone who had a zoology degree, because it was a hard sciences type degree, or a chemistry degree, that sort of thing. Do you look for something similar, or do you take the resume in context and just read through the whole thing and see how it goes?
yeah, we take them each in context. We look at lots and lots of different backgrounds, pretty much because our budget normally is around 20 or more people a year. Because of internal attrition, so people that we train come into test, end up going to other departments, we have to hire at times more than, sometimes around double our budget to actually get a net gain of budget. We can't really afford to say, well, we're only going to look at people who have been in some kind of science background, because we don't get enough of those.
Sure.
So
You mentioned in the talk that they have a fair number of musicians.
Oh, okay.
we do music, and I complete one of the 8 that I forgot. I'm making the box like what my presentation was like.
I remember it was
He does.
Yeah, the 8.
No one else does.
Someone afterwards mentioned that they've had good luck with librarians, and one of our really good testers is a library science major.
See, that's a hard science right there. It has the word science in it.
Yes,
That's right.
and he's
That works.
really, really good. And so we look at all resumes in context and try to look for things that show that they maybe can learn things
I just think
and could be
someone
good
might
at
have actually
testing.
thought I was being serious there. just in case. Anyway, that's awesome. Sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay.
So the goal is to not filter resumes. Because
Pretty
I've
much.
experienced that too. A lot of times I'll have to go in and say, you know what, don't filter them. I want to see them all.
Yes,
Which ends up being a lot of work for the hiring manager.
it is.
Because they need to go through it and then divine some sort of criteria
Yeah.
that's different for every single person.
That's
Which
true.
doesn't usually sit well with HR departments.
For the way I guess the way we work through that is our HR department has been really good at letting us take over that part of the process. And we also hire for the department. We don't hire individually. So we have 11 or 12 managers in test at Highland. Whenever I'm reviewing applications, I'm not only reviewing when I have an opening, I'm reviewing whenever anybody has an opening. So I look at someone and I think, okay, this could be a good tester. I want to push them through for an interview. I may never do the interview. I just review the application. And it gets, the entire process is run through whatever managers are available to help, because otherwise I don't think we could handle the quantity of interviews that we need to do to find people.
Yep.
It complicates it a bit where I've actually had new hires that join my team that I never interviewed. And in the end, it feels a little unnerving at the beginning, like new people getting into the process, but we've learned to trust our other managers and their judgment that if they say that this is a good person, they're probably going to be a good person, and I can take them.
So do you look, if you're looking at resumes, because I know you don't filter them, so you get a lot of them
Yes.
for each position, including, as you said in your talk, people who haven't necessarily applied for a testing position. You get people who've interviewed and who fit Highland but not in whatever job they applied for, like customer support or whatever. You will potentially bring those people in. As you're reviewing those resumes, are you looking for something that's just different, like something that's showing creativity, or is that not really something Because I know when I've been reviewing resumes, especially if it's just people right out of school or people from the same background, their resumes all look the same with different subtleties to them, but it's boring. When I actually see something different, I go, oh, good, something different.
Yeah.
So.
We try to some degree, but I think if we weeded out all of the ones that didn't seem really cool, we wouldn't have enough candidates coming through. So we look for people, we look for information that leads us down the path of, okay, we've worked with someone who had a similar background. We worked with someone who had the skill. Let's bring this person in and see if they're similar. So.
Okay.